not very sure how to begin. But some of you know me in here. Some of you are family members of mine, cousins, etc. Some of you, until very recently, were my neighbors and community members. Still love you guys. And, you know, I'll come see you soonish. For others, since there's so many in here, that, are scattered around the world, I know some have seen some of my comments. I know there's so many posts that a lot gets shuffled around and, missed. Anyway, I feel like it's been weighing on me for a while, especially as the days keep marching on, and I feel like summer has kind of been lost in the shuffle of things, sometimes even in groups like these, but anyway, we are, and by we, I mean myself and my children, were Summer's immediate next door neighbors. Were the property that JD was trespassing on.
Hi, my name is Dee, and you're watching Dee True Crime Commentary. JD didn't trespass. He bought that land. He owned that land. And JodiSue and Andy were about to get evicted from 125. They knew they did wrong. They went running all over that night, running Jackie off. They went to Fields Road to make sure he wasn't there. And how in the hell did he know they owned property on Fields Road? He didn't. And he got out of there as fast as he could away from those crazy people. He bought that land. He paid $18,000 for 2.23 acres on a crest of a hill. But JodiSue and Andy's property was on the crest of a hill too. It was just bigger.
We are the ones that called the police that day. And we are the ones that heard the scream, right? And
we know. You were first on the ground to look for her too, at least down below, huh, JodiSue? You were the first one that searched for her before you even knew she was gone, supposedly, allegedly, in my opinion.
And just so there's no confusion and nobody can say that we are making things up. Let me see. I don't know if that'll clear up, but let me see here if it will do it with. Anyway, oh, there it goes. There it goes. Yep. See? Ben Hill. There you go. Anyway, that's the ID. That was our address until just a couple of days ago.
JodiSue got a restraining order against Andy, and he had to leave his house and couldn't go back until September 6th.
And we're pretty grateful that it no longer is. As some of you know, considering some of the awesome people in this group that have sent encouraging messages and well wishes and things that, I'm going to be honest with you, have kind of kept the darkness at bay. I appreciate it. It's helped. So, anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. Also, before I go any further, because there was problems last time, I left comments, actually two issues, weeks ago, in an interview that, and look, I'm going to have a hard time using the initials you all use, just because of medical issues, and I'm used to calling people by name, and I'm going to try not to do that, but to make it easier on me, there's going to be some that I just, and there's others I'm going to leave out, because
You know what this lady is? She's a parasite. A parasite. A being that attaches itself on to another being and sucks the lifeblood out of it. And that's what she's done, day in and day out.
it's not my place to out them or tell their parts of the story, or make it impossible for them to live their lives or to speak for them on what they experienced and what they know. And so there's going to be things that you see that I do that with, if they allow these to be shared, the group admins, that is. But before I start, I would just like to say, one of the comments I left weeks ago after Candace and them had done an interview, and the scream was mentioned, we were kind of outed a little bit, and then immediately upon leaving a comment asking for my kids' privacy.
What good has she done for the Summer Wells case? None. None. It's non-existent. The good she did for the Summer Wells case is non-existent. She muddied the waters up. That's what our object was for being here. She murdered the Summer Wells case.
People went and, within seconds, had shared pictures of them. Even to my comment about, no, I don't, my children, because of our situation right now, are going through enough.
It's okay for her to talk about other people's children, but she don't want nobody talking about her children, because they're special. They didn't do nothing.
I'd rather, and even if we weren't, I would rather they not, that nobody share their information or images.
But she aired Dawn and Candace's privacy or non-privacy all over YouTube by mentioning their kids time after time after time, by blaming their kids for Summer's disappearance several times. Not just once, several times. This lady has tried to tear this case apart from the get-go. From the very beginning, when she started talking, she started damaging.
And also the other day when things were mentioned and I spoke up at all, people mentioned my speech and accused me of being intoxicated. That's not the case. I have cancers, and I had, as you can see, a surgery to try to remove one of them that had metastasized. We didn't get clear margins, things like that. Either way, the
first thing she did was come in here and try to get your sympathy. And a lot of y'all, she got it. But she didn't get mine. Is she really worthy of sympathy? I think not. In my opinion, allegedly, supposedly.
As it stands, I was supposed to have begun radiation again just, I think the 20th of last month. However, they've decided that they're saving that back for the other cancers and things, so we're just kind of watching this one kind of do its thing. But
First, she got your sympathy for her help. Then she got your sympathy from another angle, from the DV angle. And then she got it from saying that she was being terrorized and tormented and all this stuff. She's a three-hook angler.
because of the situation and some other out of anybody's hands things, and then everything, I've been off thyroid meds for 5 or 6 months now, since well before Summer had, before she went missing. And it makes, when you're off of it this long, it makes things hard. My body doesn't function correctly. My hands kind of lock up joints, things like that. But it does affect my speech patterns. It makes my mouth heavy, along with where the nerves were cutting here. It hits those centers. So sometimes it does sound, and the more stressed I get or upset, and lately, I'll be honest with you, that's been a lot.
She strung us along for 4 years. She kept us wanting just to grasp a little bit of information that she didn't have, and she knew she didn't have it, but she thought she made you think she had it. And it's time for all this shit to stop. It's time. Nobody wants to watch her, listen to her. People can't stand her. Her time is over. Her 15 minutes of fame is over. For the good of Summer Wells.
And yesterday was not a good day, so today it's a little bit harder for me to enunciate clearly enough for others to understand me or not think I'm intoxicated. But I promise you I'm not. We can do a pickup any day. Anyway, so, yeah. And I, obviously no thyroid. But the thyroid meds and not having those for so long is definitely affecting things. And so's our current situation, and, yeah. So the stress is real. You'll hear me go back and forth with speech. I'll try to make sure that I know. A little while before Summer went missing. A couple weeks before, because I think things that far out are important. And my hopes for these are that maybe it helps keep attention on Summer in these groups and people looking for her as they're out and their eyes open, and that she's not forgotten, because she matters. And also looking at the Remax and there were so many, especially out-of-state advertisements, because they're getting more money out of those in Hawkins right now, especially with people not even being able to view the properties in person. And, yeah. So, what had been done, it was almost laughable. We knew immediately there was going to be problems. Because what had been done was, when they came to take the photos, and those, if you live in a wooded area, you kind of know there's a sweet spot, especially for realty photos, that you can kind of make things blend. It goes, between like fall and winter, full on winter, or you take them in winter, like dead end, and then go into spring. It's, puffery for real estate. It's kind of what they do. You expect some of this, but this.
I know if she's on SSI in Tennessee, she gets her medicine free. She just don't want to take that thyroid medicine, or she'd be taking it all the time. 'Cause it's free, 'cause she have Medicaid.
Was pretty blatant, and some of the craziest I'd ever seen. Some of the most misleading. And what they had done was, I think there was like a series of, on some sites it was like 34, others had 44 pictures. They had absolutely trespassed and come all the way up to like where the house, cabin, things like that were. Definitely not on the piece that was, up for sale. And had made it look like, to anybody that didn't know the area or couldn't come look in person, and I don't know, they'd advertised it as rolling hills, and it definitely is not. Like, but they had made Candace's and this property, and because, and the road in between us kind of blends, right? So you can't even tell it's there in the photos. But they had made it look like it was one big continuous looking thing. Couldn't even tell the road was there. And you, in some of the photos, can see Candace's basement door just perfectly. So, anyway, they were definitely trespassing. Most of the photos weren't even of the property that was up for sale. What that piece actually is like the crust of the bank. I think the biggest spot on it really to build is like 60, 70 feet. And it is over a cliff. I don't know how you would manage it, even with unrestricted, just because of, waterways and ditches and the slope and the grade of the land, because even unrestricted doesn't mean, right? And then most of the actual physical property is like the whole 2 acres of it almost is like this, under where the barn sits for this property. You can't really access it. It's like the creek bed and straight up. You can't do anything with it. You couldn't build on it. You couldn't, even if you wanted to. It's basically just a cliff, and it goes straight down to the creek. It was definitely, and they sold it as is, where is. It was the whole thing. So, anyway, in those days that it was for sale, just a few, and I think we had finally, and they had to advertise all kinds of crazy stuff that wasn't actually available there, like high-speed internet and a different power company. It was wild. So, anyway, definitely wasn't worth what it was going for. It was, somebody was getting robbed, that's the truth. But, so we knew when it sold, there was going to be issues, yeah. So for even before the sale finalized, until it finalized, there were still people coming and going to look at it. People coming through there, and there have been a lot of that lately, especially in the past year. For other properties up for sale, people looking because of the unrestricted land in Hawkins itself. So, and there was many properties up for sale. So there was all kinds of out-of-state people. That's most of what came for this particular piece. There was cars coming and going. The road itself, the things that happened leading up to Summer's disappearance, were a little crazy for all of us, because had these been average weeks and days, any of us could have told you what ant peed in the road. But it was like a perfect storm was created in a place where perfect storms never happen. Because for the most part, this is a place you don't come into unless you're invited. This is not a place you stop in for a picnic. This is not a place that, this is a place if you don't know it, you don't stop in it, and you don't stop after dark, and you're not, this is not, yeah. So, anyway, with very little traffic, any other day we could have told you everybody that had been on that road, but it started with these property sales, and in particular with this property sale for the piece that JD eventually bought and did close on. So, even up until the time that he came, there was still people coming to look, hoping, I guess, that it would not close. And, yeah. Most people that came to look at that piece, laughed like it's, So, during those, weeks, I was given the go-ahead by, property owners, and, you're going to hear me mention Voldemort, here, in that way, because I'm having trouble using the name, because of our particular situation, and, there's just something so, and when I say that, the person, I was with and their father. So, I was given the go-ahead to try to track down the property lines, which was a little strange considering the things we'd been through with the years and how, anyway.
Which was strange because in less than 90 days, all of them would be moved out of there because they got evicted. They knew it was coming.
So, I tracked down the property lines. Most of these people, if you know the community, are kin in some form or other. Most have property maps dating back to 1800s. In particular, this family were some of the first settlers to Rogersville and Hawkins and Beech Creek itself. So, the deed that should go with that piece that was for sale that JD bought happened to be the survey map itself that had been done in 77 that goes with the deed that the last one made it. Either way, it was in the closet. So, kind of knew where they're at, but I still measured off, had surveyors come out, whole nine. And even in the cancer shape, I went and got it done, right? Found mistakes, made sure everything was lined up. Because there's a point of contention. And we knew that that in itself would present an issue. So, that whoever showed up, that would be a problem area for the family that owns that. I did my research, and it, I'll get to that in the next part. However, so at that point, after it's surveyed off, things are done, we just kind of wait for whoever's bought it to show up.
So they could run them off just like they did Jackie Dobbs. They didn't even own any land there. They don't own land. They didn't even pay taxes. Andy's mom and dad paid the taxes. They think the world is entitled to them. Like they're special. Like they don't have to follow the rules.
And, so the next one I will try to get to Judy.